A year before the robot invasion, a large black orb appeared west of Minopolis. Not a single word was issued to explain the mysterious phenomenon or reassure Calypso's population. Over time, more and more orbs opened up all over Calypso, including in towns like Hadesheim. Towards the end of the latest robot attack, Shelly Nakajima made a report outside Fort Zeus that leaked to the public.
As you can see behind me, a lot of mutants have gathered here. CDF have raised concerns about it, but does not consider it a serious threat. However, CDF advise colonists traveling in the wild to be extra careful. Nobody knows what this is about. Some say they are trade meetings, while others think that the mutants are gathering an army. There's some commotion over there to the left. Can you see it? Could you please zoom in on it? Oh my. Hey, we have to cut that part. We can't show that.
In the following days, another report came from Shelly.
This is Shelly Nakajima, reporting from inside mutant territory. I have been captured by the mutants, alongside my cameraman Jason Ferguson. They haven't killed us, and I have been allowed to report what I'm seeing here. At least they are not protesting. What we see is a big arena, where mutants fight each other and captive colonists. The crowd is mad from bloodlust, and there is a lot of yelling and cheering. The fights are always to the death, and it's primitive and brutal with clubs, whips, and axes. I think we will be put in the arena eventually, and forgive me for being a bit unprofessional, but I'm afraid this is it. I don't think I'll survive 5 seconds in there. I'll be reporting for as long as I can, but, well, the future looks bleak for me and Jason.
The next day, another report came.
This is Shelly Nakajima, still alive in Mutant Heartland. Jason and I haven't been killed yet, and we can still transmit. I'm beginning to think that they're allowing us to transmit, and that they want you, us, to know. There are other captives as well. DeVries, he has been a prisoner for a long time. We are the first humans that he has seen since Dr. Dushev. DeVries says that the Umbranoids are running the show. Prisoners are still forced into the arena to fight, and I've done my best to treat the wounds of the few that win and survive, but I don't have much to work with. The air is ripe with pain, uncertainty, and fear. So much fear, even among the mutants, and especially Pfeffoids and Argonauts. And it seems to be... it's growing. I can almost touch it. I fear that something bad is going to happen. Please, if anyone out there can hear me, help us before the fear takes us.
Another day, another report.
This is Shelly Nakajima, and I'm still alive. Jason is not. He died last night in the arena, and he was the last captive pushed into the ring to fight. The rest of us, those that have survived and those that weren't thrown into the ring, are being held in this cattle pen, and most of us are badly hurt. Sometimes they pick one out and whip them. I think they do it because they can. Things have changed here. The gladiator fights seem to have been crowd pleasers, and all these people, colonists, they just died to please these beasts. I'm sorry, I can't. The Pfeffoids and Argonauts have sent their champions into the ring, and they are slugging it out, and they do. They are so scared and excited, and you can see the bloodlust as they fight. The crowd is very much the same. There's so much blood and violence and pain, so much that we can feel it. It's an avalanche of fear rolling over us, and some of us have already given in and gone catatonic.
The next day, the reports continued.
Sorry, this is Shelly Nakajima, and if you can trace this, please send help. I don't know where I am. DeVries said that Dushev would know. It's important what he knows. It's in his files. The Umbranoids have moved us. It's hot and smelly in here. We can't see very much what's happening, but we can hear it. The Pfeffoids are gone. I think the Argonauts ate them. There are roars and screams, and I can smell it's sick. And DeVries says that it's a mutant custom, if you can call it a custom. I think they have just run amok from bloodlust. Their clan leaders are just fighting. You know, in frenzy. I have never heard of mutants behaving like this. They are mad. As if they were, possessed. As if something pushed them. Something was eating their minds. For EBN News, this is Shelly. God, I can't do this.
The last report came a day later.
This is Shelly Nakajima. I'm somewhere in orb country. I really don't know which orb. I don't know where I am. I've managed to escape. We were moved to another area, and we were attacked by someone. I hid beneath a dead Argonaut. They didn't notice as they moved on, and then I was alone. I'm not too far from the mutants. I can hear them howling. They are still running amok. If they find someone, they rip him to shreds. I saw DeVries as they killed him. I'm sorry. I'm close to an orb. It's in my mind. And every time the mutants howl and roar as someone is defeated, I think, the orb, it's whispering in my mind. Every time. Just, as Dushev said, the whispers, they are getting stronger. I don't know if anyone can pick this up, but if you do, please help.
Soon after, Shelly was rescued. An interview with her revealed the mutant leader had some kind of helmet that had tusks and red eye slits.
There was one where I was about to report of some kind of leader or champion or something for the Umbranoids when he suddenly entered the cattle pen where they held us. He grabbed me by the neck and lifted me, and I thought he would. He threw me aside into a corner, and then he dragged Jason. Pause. That's when Jason was killed.
In response to this interview, CDF called for a press conference.
A CDF spokesman confirmed that there are more than 14 of the so-called Dushev files in circulation. There seem to be reports of 5 more files, in addition to the 14 known files that so far are not in CDF archives. He also confirmed that the mutant called Mulman Demp is believed to be in charge of the mutant skirmishes on Calypso. CDF also showed an artist's sketch of what they believe that Demp's helmet looks like, based on Ms. Nakajima's testimony and other information. As for the importance of the helmet or the specific content in the unknown Dushev files, CDF refuses to comment other than that they are still collating data.
The following morning, CDF High Commander Major Jenny Caramone revealed CDF's plan for closing down the orbs to the public. Using telemetry data from the orbs and some field trials, CDF created a device for closing them down.
There seems to be a control mechanism that counters our attempts of closing the orbs. The mutants have made a critical error, as both helmets are on this side of whatever gateway the orbs are. If the helmets are removed from mutant possession, CDF will again attempt to use their device to close the gateway.
Eventually, the helmets were retrieved and the orbs were closed. And for now at least, Calypso is safe once again. Some months after the mutant problems, scientists observed and started to track a moving object in the outskirts of the Omega-16 Reticuli system. The object was catalogued as Reticuli 2170509 and given the name Typhoon. On further study, they discovered that it is fast, moving through the system and manufactured. That prompted the Federal Imperial Navy to launch a probe. Although not coming directly from Akbalchimi, the object was identified as a robot War Titan when the probe was within visual range.
A spokesman announced that the Federal Imperial Navy battle group intercepted the War Titan Typhoon just outside the orbit of Hypnos, the 6th planet of the system. In the ensuing battle, the battle group sustained heavy losses.
The flagship, fleet support vessel Julius Caesar, as well as the heavy strike vessels Anthony and Vercingetorix and medium strike vessel Boudica were destroyed. All hands lost.
Medium strike vessel. Leonidas rammed the War Titan, temporarily disrupting its fire and allowing the rest of the fleet to disengage from combat. Several other ships have taken heavy damage and some are incapacitated.
Since the destruction of fleet support vessel Julius Caesar, Fleet command was transferred to the new flagship, heavy strike vessel Alexander, that leads the breakneck hunt for Typhoon. The war-torn battle group was further diminished as the Battle of Hypnos took its toll. Rapid strike vessel Tutankhamun exploded from engine failure. Medical support ship Eratosthenes had to stop completely as its engines failed just inside the orbits of Janus 1 and 2. The strangest fate of all is that of the medium strike vessel Damocles, that suddenly increased speed and left the battle group behind. When hailed, the damaged warship did not respond at first, and then transmitted a powerful but garbled digital code signal. Contact with MSV Damocles was then lost.
As every telescope and sensor system gazed at War Titan Typhoon, it was evident that Typhoon would not break for orbit or try to land on Calypso. Typhoon was aimed for impact.
After deliberations with the Federal Imperial Navy and the Ministry of Colonial Affairs, a clearly worn Major Jenny Caramone finally addressed the public.
In a prepared statement, she announced that colonists of planet Calypso should be evacuated to the relative safety of Exodus or any other off-planet site.
An armada of civilian ships took off from Calypso and surrounding space stations in a last-ditch attempt to stop the approaching War Titan Typhoon. The plan was to get close to the War Titan under long-range cover fire from the pursuing Federal Imperial Navy battle group and insert Special Operations Team in order to destroy or divert the War Titan.
The plan quickly went haywire. As the Armada left atmosphere and were preparing for their gauntlet run towards Typhoon, they were intercepted by the missing medium strike vessel Damocles.
The leaders of the Armada decided to divert some ships to board the Damocles, while the rest moved on to Typhoon. The ships attacking Typhoon suffered heavy losses, despite the cover barrage from the Federal Imperial Navy. The Special Operations teams did not succeed in their mission. Contact with the boarding party was quickly lost, and Typhoon's trajectory has not changed. The fate of the Damocles team was equally grim. The last transmission from the landing party before it was lost revealed large Scylla-like mechs. No number count was confirmed. Just as the Typhoon passed the orbit of Calypso's outer moon Eris, the looming war machine accelerated despite the increasing long-range barrage of the pursuing battle group. The new trajectory means that it will hit Calypso near Hadesheim. RDI predicts massive destruction. Given the mass of the War Titan, the impact crater will probably be on the order of 2 kilometers in diameter. There will be an area of total devastation several times bigger, and secondary effects of the impact will probably cause a small ice age. If you're not off the planet until then, you're toast, as the RDI spokesman put it, and chances are that a lot of people would be toast.
In order to maximize casualties, Scylla-like robot units threatened the routes to the evacuation hangars, wreaking havoc on colonists trying to get off the planet in time.
In response, hundreds of colonists stuck on Calypso gave up trying to escape and decided to party till the end of the world in the city that started the original resistance against the robots, Atlas Haven. They called it Apocalypso. Reports of other crazed colonists decided to meet their fate right at Ground Zero, Hadesheim. War Titan Typhoon impacted at Hadesheim at midnight 15 UTC on August 17, 2009. The explosion was large enough for debris to be thrown into space. Firestorms began raging across northwest Eudora. An ash cloud quickly formed over Calypso, blocking the sun. Surface readings indicate that the global temperature began to drop, and scientists expected an ice age. Planet Calypso was declared a disaster area by the Federal Imperial Navy, and travel to and from the planet was restricted until further notice. A new Calypso. The Vikings believed that when the world was going to end, there would be a great winter. Then gods and giants would fight the last battle. Then the world would burn, and out of the ashes, a new world would be born. They were almost right. They just got it in the wrong order. 5 years ago, the War Titan Typhoon entered the Calypsian star system, and it was aimed at Calypso. The Federal Imperial Navy desperately tried to stop it. They threw everything they had against Typhoon, even their own lives. They failed. Typhoon entered the atmosphere over the ocean just northwest of Amathera. It painted a fiery line across the sky to the east. Minutes later, Typhoon smashed into the ground at Hadesheim. The sun was blocked by the millions of tons of dust thrown up into the air by the impact. Firestorms raged over Calypso, and then ash fell and snow fell, and the great winter took hold of Calypso, but it was not the end. Most of the colonists had been evacuated to Exodus Station. They waited there for the dust to settle, the skies to clear, and life to grow back. After the impact of the War Titan Typhoon, the geography of Calypso changed heavily due to tectonic plate movements. Almost everything on Calypso was knocked down, set on fire, or buried when Typhoon hit the ground. Some places were rebuilt and others are under construction. Also, one new settlement has been constructed and one has been redesigned. Surveyors from Imperial Mining Office located survivors from the Great Winter, colonists that for one reason or another had not been evacuated before the impact of War Titan Typhoon. The survivors were a band of individuals that have scrounged resources to survive during our 5-year-long absence. The band, settled near the oil rig and in the contested and contaminated zones, did not rejoice at the reunion and used force to drive the surveyors off. Calypso Law Enforcement Administration speculates that these wastelanders may be the bandits that have scourged the area around the oil rig in the recent past. Surveyors were also surprised to find a streak in the desert near the oil rig that the wildlife seemed to avoid. On further analysis, it was due to the presence of toxic and radioactive substances in the sand. These had apparently been placed there on purpose to drive off dangerous creatures from the area. The perpetrator had not been identified, and although IMO admits that these streaks are practical for them, they deny any knowledge and blame the wastelanders, claiming that they probably want a clear path to the rig in order to raid it. Imperial zoological scouts also reported that fowls suddenly changed appearance. The phenomenon seems to be related to the Atrox's change of appearance, and scientists are moving away from the hypothesis that it was an adaptation during the Great Winter.